Yo, by this point in One Piece, the Straw Hats have been all over the map. Sometimes on purpose, and sometimes because a giant bear man smacked them halfway across the world. But regardless of how they get there, it's like everywhere the Straw Hats go, they gain new allies. Usually it's some small character that's created only for that self-contained arc, like Rebecca and Kyros. I mean, for such minor characters, they got a lot of screen time, and I saw that backstory at least 12 fucking times.
Chill.
But every once in a while, there comes around a character that is so close to the Straw Hats that they're almost a Straw Hat themselves. You would think it'd be hard for characters to get that close and there'd be a really small amount of them, but we gotta remember we're talking about the Straw Hats and more specifically, Luffy. This rubber idiot has asked multiple people to join the crew after knowing them for like 20 seconds. But all of these characters are not created equal. Some characters that get close to the Straw Hats are really interesting and really cool, and they work really well with the crew, while some of them are more so abominations that should have never been created. I mean, just look at the Reverie. Some of these honorary Straw Hats were really important and did really important things, and some of them sat on the sideline as useless crying baby. So we're gonna get to you. Just wait on it. Because today, we're gonna be ranking all these honorary Straw Hats, or at least the ones I consider to be honorary Straw Hats. If I put everybody in this video, it would have been like an hour long. I'm not putting Kami and Hachi in. No. And with that being said, let's just get straight into it. All right, and here we go. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised how many people I even had on the list. When I first thought about doing this, I thought it was gonna be like maybe 10 to 12 people. I hadn't realized how many people had been with the Straw Hats. And I know there are gonna be comments asking, well, what was your criteria for who's an honorary Straw Hat or not? Honestly, it was completely arbitrary. Like you'll notice, Haruden and Bartolomeo are here. None of the rest of the Grand Fleet are here, because f them. But speaking of which, let's start out with them. Haruden. If you asked me this at the same time last year, Haruden would have been a cool D tier. But lately, all his stuff with Loki and his dad and the giant tribes, Haruden has actually become a pretty interesting character to me. And obviously, judging by this list, one of my favorite Grand Fleet members. I feel like Haruden is one of the best honorary Straw Hats. He just doesn't get the credit because his brother is so much cooler than him. And at first, I thought about putting Loki on this list instead of him, but I don't know. That nigga ain't done enough. But Haruden, I'm not gonna lie, I went back and watched that fight with Mach Vice. Haruden got a little bit of aura. So, you know, I'll put him in B. He's not the best, but honestly underrated in my opinion. Next, Bartolomeo. Easy. Join the crew, please. The only Grand Fleet member that had the balls to stand up to a Yonko for Luffy. Now, was that stupid? And if he would have talked to Luffy about it, Luffy would have told him not to do that? Yes. But I gotta respect the dedication. And Bartolomeo is just funny. From his introduction, he's always been really funny. When he first showed up in the Coliseum, and they built him up so much as this evil villain. Cannibalism, murder, public urination. And then he ends up being the biggest Straw Hat fan ever. And as a Luffy stan myself, I feel like we got a little bit of camaraderie, you know? Like, I really be feeling him. When he met all the Straw Hats for the first time, oh my god, that's really Zoro. That's really Robin. That's really the Sniper King. I feel him, man. I would be the same way. Give him a doctor's license, have him replace Chopper. I don't care. Next, we got Vivi. I love Vivi. Not even really because of any of the stuff with Alabasta or her time with the crew. She has some good moments with the crew though. Drum Island, when she taught Luffy the importance of holding his tongue, which we know if she wasn't there, Luffy would have never done that. If it wasn't for her, Nami would probably be gone right now. And all that stuff from Little Garden to Alabasta, I liked Vivi then. But when I really started to love Vivi is when we got the stuff about the Reverie. First of all, whatever's going on with her and Lily and Emu, that's hella interesting to me. But just Vivi as a character, her interactions with Big News Morgans and Wapol, to be honest, I think have given a really good insight to her character and what her morals are, and I think it gives us a clear idea of what her role is going to be in the final saga. The Straw Hats are going to be doing all the fighting and the saving people and stuff, but Vivi is going to be the one who really brings it all together, I think. When the smoke clears and the public needs somebody to help them rebuild, I think Vivi is going to be the person that leads that, and she's going to be one of the main people trying to teach the real history that's been hidden from them. Because we saw with Morgan, she does not like misinformation. I respect that. On top of that, any character that comes with a cool ass pet, I rock with them. So Vivi, join the crew. Is there any surprise? I have seen people hate on Vivi though. Well, I've seen one particular person hate on Vivi. I don't get it, man. Next, Momonosuke. I always run into this problem with One Piece tier list. They're so top heavy. Hey, but don't worry, there will be people that come lower on this list later. But Momonosuke is not one of them. Join the crew, my boy. Out of any honorary Straw Hat, Momonosuke probably has the most complete character arc. He starts off being this annoying, cowardly, spoiled little brat. And then by the end of Wano, he's a real king, a real leader. I also think out of any of the people on this list, Momo has my favorite relationship with Luffy himself. That scene when the Straw Hats are leaving Wano. Man, I can't lie, I shed a couple tears at that. Momo and Luffy just have so many good moments together. In Zou, when they start the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance, dumbass name, bro. Even saying that just made my head hurt. But when Luffy asks Momo, are you just a figurehead? Are you not the leader of these men? That shit put some hair on your chest. Momo, you have a special place in my heart. Next, we got Boa Hancock. Boa's an interesting one because she is a genuinely compelling character, but one, she doesn't even know the rest of the Straw Hats. But I still felt the necessity to put her on this list because of how close she is to Luffy. In her limited amount of screen time, Boa has put in some crazy work, sneaking Luffy into Impel Down, protecting him during Marineford, all of which was super dangerous because she could have lost her role as a warlord. Boa is a ride or die, but she also does kick puppies, so I gotta give her a C.
To place this kitten in my...
Gaimon.
Who the fuck?
I just like Gaimon because he's funny. Like, look at him. This little stupid ass nigga got stuck in a treasure chest. Gaimon is pretty likable. He's pretty funny. His whole thing with the animals is very heartwarming, but that's about it. I feel like he's one of those One Piece characters that only gets brought up because of how brief his story is. Like a Senior Pink. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I think Senior Pink is overrated as shit. And it's largely because of how brief their story was. But really, as an honorary Straw Hat, they're like a D, Gaimon. Now, Law. Yeah, Law's the captain of his own crew, blah, blah, blah. And that fake ass crew, let's be honest, the Heart Pirates, they're basically Grand Fleet members. And I almost put Kid on this list, but I would have been saying the exact same thing about Kid. But as far as Law goes, from what we've seen in the story, we've seen him with the Straw Hats more than we've seen him with his own crew. Punk Hazard to Wano, that's like 10 years. And come on, man, Law is just cool as hell. Just purely going by ore scaling, I might have to put him and join the crew. But since Law is his own pirate captain, I guess, I'll put him in A, but I cannot put him any lower than that. Law, just in general, is one of the best characters in One Piece, and his dynamics with the Straw Hats are just so good. The moment in Punk Hazard where they have to tie Chopper to his head because Chopper can't walk. Classic. What can I say? Classic. Even his interactions with Zoro I thought were always really funny and really interesting because of how similar but subtly different they are. You heard what I said about Bartolomeo? Same thing. Replace Chopper, man. Let me stop hating on Chopper. Little bro don't deserve that. Kinemon. Honestly, I really like Kinemon, but every time I see him now, I just get mad because you should be dead. There's no reason why you should still be alive. Even though I love everything about Kinemon, from his introduction to that moment on the roof. Chills. But also, Kinemon, you should be dead. So I gotta give you a B. That's really crazy. They let this nigga live, getting cut in half, smushed by Kaido, and somehow Ashura Doji and Izo die to a bomb and a finger pistol. Shirahoshi, in the words of Luffy, you're just annoying as f. I don't dislike Shirahoshi necessarily, but she just isn't particularly interesting. Honestly, if I had to describe her, she kind of just feels like a worse version of Momonosuke. She didn't get as much time to be developed, and she kind of feels like she only exists to be one of the ancient weapons. And just all that fucking crying. Oh my god. Shut up. You know what? F. Bon Clay. Now this is a motherfucking GOAT. When you talk about ride or die, sacrificing yourself for the squad, Bon Clay might be the best one here. Not only does he have one of my favorite Sanji fights, he's risked himself to save the Straw Hats at least 3 different times. He embodies that Nakama feeling. He doesn't even know the Straw Hats that well, but he's still willing to sacrifice himself for them. And at the end of the day, isn't that what being a Straw Hat is about? Bro, really bad. So you know what, Bon Clay? Join the crew, man. Wiper. Why is Wiper on this list? Just cause he's cool as shit. That's literally the only reason. I don't have any real reason. I'm gonna be honest. But when him, Zoro, Nami, who else was there? Oh, was Gonfall there? Gonfall, I don't care about your old ass. Probably, honestly, to me, the coldest moment in Skypiea. Now, has Wiper really done much to be considered an honorary Straw Hat? No, not really. He's just cool as hell, so I'm putting him in B. B is a little unfair. I'll put him in C. I got a little ahead of myself, I'll admit. And honestly, I could never see Wiper joining the crew really, because wouldn't he just become a Diet Zoro? We already have Jinbei to be a Diet Zoro. What do we Next, we got Pedro, Mr. Suicidal himself. Honestly, the deeper I get into One Piece, the more Pedro just comes across as like, you're just a loser, bro.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong.
I appreciate the way that Pedro's character leans into the whole inheriting wills and everybody's this moving cog for this greater purpose. But Pedro, couldn't you have found a better purpose than just blowing yourself up and not even killing the person that you blew up on? I mean, he did help the Straw Hats escape Whole Cake Island, but he was really just looking for a place to die. I feel like he just wanted to die and just used the Straw Hats as an excuse. I like you, Pedro, but as a Straw Hat, you're like D tier. Honestly, I've never known how to pronounce this dog's name. Is it Chocho, Choo Choo? I don't know. But this you know what's crazy? This dog might just be Luffy's first rival in One Piece, because him and Luffy was boxing in Orange Town. I'm gonna admit it, this is all dog tax and sad backstory tax, but Chocho, you could join the crew. Come on, we need a pet. You know, if Chocho was on the crew, Chopper might have a higher bounty right now, because they'll be like, oh, that's the pet. He could have took the hit for Chopper. He could have been the one with the 100 berry bounty. Bonnie. You could call this recency bias, I won't deny that, but I just love Luffy and Bonnie's dynamic. She's deadass just like a younger version of Luffy, like the overeating, the lack of a filter, and the dedication to freedom. I've already talked a bunch about how much I love that Nika moment for Bonnie, and obviously her whole story with Kuma is peak. Definitely one of the best backstories in One Piece, and she fits in so well with the Straw Hat. It makes me almost want to put her and join the crew, but I also feel like there are other places where Bonnie would be more useful or more interesting as a character. Like, I've seen people talk about Bonnie joining the Revs or her running off with Vegapunk somewhere, who knows? But I'll put you in A, Bonnie, but that's a high A. That's damn near join the crew.
Stop it.
Paulie. Is Paulie really an honorary Straw Hat? I don't know. But I do remember when I first watched Water 7, I 100% thought Paulie was the one that was joining the crew. I thought Frankie was the villain. We were gonna beat Frankie, and then Paulie was gonna join us. I still love Paulie. This gambling addict virgin was definitely by far the funniest part of Water 7 to me, and it felt like he was being set up to join the crew so hard, which was probably on purpose. But it was done so well that by the time we left Water 7, I was damn near sad. Frankie, I mess with you with Paulie. As time has passed, my Paulie craze has diminished a bit, but I still love him. But if I'm being honest, Paulie's like a B.
Something smells delicious. Look, sir. This perverted harlot is gonna corrupt your eyes with her filthy body.
Dory and Broggy. Are they really honorary Straw Hats, or are they more like honorary red hair pirates? I don't know, but at the end of the day,
Shanks is not Nika. Shanks is not Joy Boy, so he gonna have to sit his man.
I like Dory and Broggy. Hakoku Sovereignty is still one of my favorite attacks in the series, and I don't even like giants fighting usually. Giant fights are usually pretty boring to me, but at the very least, when they pull out Hakoku Sovereignty, for that moment, their fights are interesting. And the inspiration that they had on Luffy and Usopp, pretty cool, but all in all, pretty mid. Yamato. Now, I'm not gonna lie, leading up to the end of Wano, I was one of the few people that was thinking Yamato's probably not gonna join the crew.
Why would you say that?
Just because Oda was leaning into it so heavy. And whenever Oda does that, it's always so he can do a rug pull and go the other way. But Yamato as a character is pretty interesting. The whole Odin thing, I think, leaves a lot of room for growth, and there's a lot of directions that you can take with it, as well as the relationship with Momonosuke and the rest of the Scabbards. But as an honorary Straw Hat,
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as fuck in my opinion.
Yamato didn't really do much with the Straw Hats. As a character, I'd probably have Yamato as like an A. But as a Straw Hat Yamato, you're like a D.
Is this nigga serious?
Now we got Kokoro, the baddest mermaid in One Piece. I'll say it. Why is Kokoro on this list, you might ask? She didn't really sail with the Straw Hats that much. She was only there for Enies Lobby. No real reason other than I like her, okay? And she was one of the first people to start calling Luffy the king of the pirates. And she really believes in Luffy, which at the end of the day, that's really all you need to do to become a Straw Hat. That alone is enough to make her a Straw Hat in my eyes. And she also came in clutch for the Straw Hats a couple times, even if the Straw Hats weren't that appreciative of it. This is complete bias. I have no logic for this, but I'm putting Kokoro an A. That's my dog. And you know, if she joined the crew, her and Zoro could get along because, you know, alcoholics. Next, Carrot. Hot take, but I think Carrot has become such an overhated character in the One Piece fan base. When Carrot was on the Straw Hats, she was a great addition. You telling me you wasn't hyped the first time Carrot went Sulong? Stop lying. As far as people that have sailed with the Straw Hats, Carrot is probably the one that had the highest chance of actually joining the crew. And she really had her own distinct role and personality within the crew. Her personality created really good dynamics with different Straw Hats, especially Chopper, Nami, even Luffy. I think her dynamic with Luffy was really cute too. I honestly still to this day wouldn't be mad if Carrot joined the crew. It's not happening, but I would not be mad at it. I think it's way better than her being the king of Zoe or whatever. But I mean, who else would do it? The rest of the minks are weak as shit. Otama. I know I said Carrot was the one that had the biggest chance of joining the crew, but Otama, I swear, I would have bet my whole house on Otama joining the crew. I just love the idea of Luffy having his own apprentices, kind of like Shanks and Buggy on Roger's shit. What I honestly thought was gonna happen was Hiyori was gonna become some kind of interim leader for Wano, and until Momo was ready to take up that mantle, Momo and Otama would sail with us as apprentices. Obviously, none of that ended up happening, but I still love Otama as a Straw Hat. A very unique devil fruit, very useful devil fruit. She has her own personality, she has her own dream, and to be honest, for being so young, she put in hella work in Wano. If it wasn't for Otama, we would have lost in Wano, 100%. That's another join the crew. Good lord. I'm worse than Luffy. There would have been like 30 Straw Hats if I was there. But am I gonna take any of them out of there? Nope. For our final entry, Caribou. I absolutely despise Caribou. One Piece cover stories take characters that you don't know much about and then make you like them more. Caribou is probably one of the only cover stories that just made me hate him even more. He's just such a slimy, grimy, I hate you. But also, his dynamic with the Straw Hats is pretty funny. The Straw Hats constantly catching him doing something stupid and beating the fuck out of him. I don't think I'll ever get tired of that. So for that, you're still getting put in F. I will never put you anywhere above F. Y'all won't be able to tell this, but I deadass just sat here for 5 minutes looking at the join the crew section thinking, who can I put lower so that this list isn't so top heavy? But I don't want to drop any of them. You know what? As much as it hurts me, Chocho, I will have to drop you one tier. But everybody else, man, join the crew. There you go. That's my list. And before you argue with me, I just got a text from Oda. He said this is the best tier list he's ever seen. And he's honestly considering making all of these people part of the crew now. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all boys today. Let me know who your favorite honorary Straw Hat is in the comments below. And comment Glutton if you made it to the end. Just confuse everybody that didn't make it here. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, man, I'm gone.
I can't forget about them